Washington football. Woo! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Burgundy Zone. I am your host, Kyle, but I am joined by my two co-hosts, Michael Hall and Michael Reed. We are joined by returning guest and friend of the podcast, Mr. Travis Thomas of Team 980. How are you doing tonight, Travis?
I want to change my title from friend to family because that's how I feel when I'm hanging out.
Hey, come on, Kyle.
Man.
Change it up next time.
Travis Toretto. Now we got it. Travis Toretto.
Travis Toretto. There you go. Yeah, hell yeah. I'm not Paul Walker in this situation.
So, Travis, a lot has happened since the last time that we've had you on the podcast. The latest from the Washington football team, we won't dive too much into the rebranding process, but I wanted to gain and get your reaction to the Warriors being eliminated due to the ties to Native Americans.
I understood it. I mean, I was rooting for that from the beginning. I thought it made the most sense, keeping the colors. I thought the song could still work for us, but hail to the Warriors, right? But
yep.
I do understand why they're going in a different direction. I just think, look, we all need to be prepared for either. I still think it could be Washington football team, or it's going to be something ridiculous. You guys know that, right?
Right. Yeah.
Just prepare yourself for the Washington presidents or generals or monuments. I heard a few that are kind of hokey, but I guess I could live with them. The Washington Freedom is one I know. A lot of people like Independence.
Right.
I mean, they're kind of corny to me, but I could live with them.
So Travis, before you keep going, on Twitter today, I had put up that the title of this episode was going to be a name that I thought could kind of like it is modern and it could work for the team name. And I don't think many people have talked about it. I want to get your reaction to it. The Washington Grinders.
Okay. Early in my career, covered demolition derbies, and that's exactly what that sounds like.
To me, it sounds like the way that they make sausage links and hot dogs.
Awful.
Grinded meat.
Look, the only reason I say that is because you're grinding, and it also sounds good because you think of the Steelers, you think of teams like that where that kind of verb with a noun, like with the name with it, and that's what I was kind of going with it. Just thinking just outside the box, what could possibly be something that's modern? Because people talking about being on the grind, and shit like that. So it could be something they run with.
You think of some sick skateboarding tricks, dude. Down a
the Washington Ollies.
Yeah, the Washington.
You know what? I'm done with name suggestions.
Ollie
I'm done with name suggestions.
Airwalks.
Right.
The Washington Heelys. You just roll through on your hill.
The Washington Tony Hawks.
Yeah. Well, hey, 900, baby.
Hawks.
That's where I'm looking to finish.
Gonna suck. I mean, I'm at the point now, I'm just prepared for the worst, and I'm hoping for the best.
Just rip the Band-Aid off.
I mean, it's going to drag out, and it's either going to be the Washington football team or the Grinders. Something terrible.
Yeah, right.
Butchering my name. Hey, but seriously, though, I just want to I got my new debit card. And it's always been, with the curly R on it because Bank of America.
God, I would not show that.
I just got my new one. It doesn't have my number on it, but I thought that was really cool looking. I thought for as simple as Washington football team is, I thought that is very, very sleek. I like the look of that. I did want to put that out there.
I do hope that at some point you accidentally turned it around and somebody can just click pause and freeze all of your information.
Yeah, let's just put all the card information at the bottom
of
the episode in the description box.
Right. All right, subscribe and I'll upload the information.
Hey, it's a good way to get subscribers. There you go.
Yeah.
They're using your card to pay for it.
Reed,
it's on me. Yeah. So recently, everyone's been giving Dan Snyder a hard time for the past 20 years since he's became the owner, pretty much. And for the first time, he's kind of came out and admitted that he's made some mistakes. And I just want to get your reaction to that because not a lot of people would even really expect that from Dan Snyder.
Yeah, look, I like the direction that the team's moving in now. I get it. I've been covering the team for a long time. I've been a fan for the team my whole life. I've watched Snyder since he's taken over, and both as a fan and a media member. We could do this whole podcast on all the mistakes, all the embarrassments in the franchise, especially recent memory. Obviously the Mitchell report, which didn't have an actual report. So what kinda was it? But never mind that.
UFO report.
And, I just look at the direction it's going in now, the hirings that were made. I think Tanya taking more of a hands-on approach will be helpful. And I said this on my show, guys. I said, the weird thing about Dan Snyder now, his position now and moving forward, if he stays out of his own way, which how many times have we said that, but if he actually does it, allows the people that he has put into power to do their job, empowers them, enables them to do what they do, and he kind of stays in the background, just works with the business side of things, okay? We get this rebrand, regardless of what the name is, there's going to be a ton of money to be made, bad name or not.
Yes, sir.
With merchandise, things of that nature, rights deals. And then if I'm him, I'm playing nice with the local politicians. I'm figuring out a way to get out of that awful lease that they currently have at FedEx. And I'm bringing my football team with a new brand, a new name, a new image, a brand new front office that's doing a great job, a new head coach we believe in, Aaron Rodgers, excuse me, and I'm moving back into the district.
Yes.
And then he goes from zero to hero overnight.
Oh, yeah. Then he becomes the man. Then he really – I was going to mess with you, and I was going to ask you the question that Dan Snyder finally admitted he's made a lot of mistakes. Do you think he has? But I just wanted to mess with you on that one.
I wanted to – and I also, before you go, Reed, Travis, one thing I wanted to ask, I said this on one of the pods that I went on last week, but I thought that Dan could win the good graces of me as a fan looking at it because he did sever the relationship. I did feel like if he were to have 50% of the team be – paid off for fans like the Packers, where they could have 50% ownership of the team like that would win me back as a fan of Dan Snyder. How do you feel about that?
It'll never happen with him. He's the captain of the evil empire.
Well, if it did.
Well, sure. If it did, if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk on the Zoom, on the Zoom call, right? I mean, look, he has done nothing to show. In fact, I'll go a step further, Kyle. He has done nothing to show us that is possible, what you're talking about. But he's also done nothing to suggest that even what I said is
right.
doable.
No, you're
right.
Yeah. 100%.
Remember, I prefaced my comment by saying if he stays out of his way, his own way.
And when has that happened?
Right. So there's no history of that. But, look, that's the play. I mean, I don't even think he needs to do that, Kyle. Like, honestly, if he just stays out of the way, let the other people get the shine and do a good job so they'll earn the shine. And then you know what you should do, Dan? Just figure out how to bring our football team back into the district. They should have never left to begin with. So let's figure that out. Why is training camp? Think about training camp, guys. We're in Richmond for a week. Then we're in Ashburn for a week. I mean, what the hell is next? Six Flags? Like, what are we doing?
Dan does partly own it, so.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, that's actually a very reasonable thing that he might do. So, speaking of, we've been talking off the field. We know about but on the field. Oops, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now, Kyle?
Yep.
All right. Oops. Okay, so on the field, though, Washington is getting a lot of hype from the national media. A lot of people are starting to drink the Kool-Aid. I mean, you heard Rich Eisen the other day said that he thinks Washington could finish with 11 or 12 wins.
12
How do you feel about this?
I mean, look, I get it. I'm not one of those people. I'm not a national person. I'm a local person. And do I see a scenario where they win 11 or 12 games? Sure. But I'm more in the 8 to 9 win range, depending on what day you talk to me. I also am not the biggest Ryan Fitzpatrick guy. Now, I will be honest, I was an absolute hater. And in fact, the last time I was on your podcast, I'm sure I was just spewing hatred and slandering him. Over time, talking to enough people who cover the team that I trust, former teammates, guys that played against him in the league. Chris Baker was very insightful for me personally, because he played against him and on his team in Tampa.
Okay.
And Chris Baker, I mean, oh my God, dude, you would have thought he was talking about Jesus of Nazareth. Like
they look similar.
He was telling me behind the scenes stuff. The beard is kind of like that. But
that's
anyway,
what I'm saying.
he was telling me behind the scenes stuff about Fitzpatrick that was great. Meeting room stuff, practice stuff, locker room stuff. In the games, a lot of times he was telling me that some of these picks aren't his fault. I mean, he just kind of talked me into it and sold me on him. So I'm not as harsh anymore, but I'm also not going to act like this guy's Tom Brady, right?
Right.
So I get 11 or 12 wins projected. I'm a fan and I cover the team. I could see that happening, but I don't really believe it given the history of Ryan Fitzpatrick, quite frankly. I think they go as far as he can take them.
Right. And I'm right there with you. I'm the same way with Fitz. At first, I was very disappointed with the signing. Yeah, I mean, granted, there was nobody else out there. I kind of got talked into it. Now I'm pumped about it. I think he fits this team perfectly. But I'm just so nervous being a Washington fan and having hype. It doesn't end well for us. Last time, the 2012 season, 2012 heading into 2013, we thought we were going to be running the division for the next 10 years.
Yeah, but you have to think about it like this. I know they only went 7-9.
Right.
But they did win the division.
Yep.
They did host a wild card game
against the Super Bowl
champs. They
did
stand toe-to-toe with the champs. Taylor Heineke went toe-to-toe with the greatest quarterback of all time and went blow for blow in the center of the ring with him like a heavyweight.
Yeah, right.
I mean, they didn't lose that game because of Heineke, right? So, I mean, that's what happens. When you win in this league, expectations follow.
Yep.
A tougher schedule follows. And so the good teams figure it out. The great teams do it every year. The bad teams regress. But the expectations are going to be there because of the success. And so which team are we? I guess we're going to find out. How do we do with prosperity?
That's a great point.
That being said, Travis, you just brought up a great point talking about the schedule last season and the kind of weakness of it. Everyone knows about the NFC East was very bad last season and the schedule this year. And I like to look at life with a lot of balance, like a seesaw, right? Last season, it was very, very easy. This season is going to be very difficult. Travis, do you believe that with the acquisitions that they have made on offense, that will be able to balance out the kind of up in competition that they'll be facing this season?
That's a question for Scott Turner, isn't it? I mean, it's funny about him. Everyone's talking about the weapons. Fitzpatrick, Samuel, will McLaurin take the next step? I'm hearing De'Ami Brown's awesome. This guy, that guy. Logan Thomas, does he have another? All this stuff, and we know the offensive line reshuffle.
Right.
All this stuff is dependent upon the play calling. Now, I'm not going to act like Ron Rivera's not responsible as well, but we all know it's that offensive coordinator. It's the creativity. Sure, you do have more weapons offensively. Yes, I do believe, even though I'm not a big Fitzpatrick guy, there's no question he's an upgrade over one-leg Alex Smith. And I don't mean any disrespect. It's the truth.
But
And so
it's a fact. The guy has one leg at this point.
But we have to have creativity. I mean, I look at how Carolina used Curtis Samuel, and I thought they did a great job.
Yep.
I look, are we going to utilize him the same way? Terry McLaurin does need to take another step, but he also has to be featured and targeted. Logan Thomas, I think, can get a little better, but we can't ask the guy to be Tony Gonzalez. Antonio Gibson, to me, he's probably the biggest piece that I want to see what Turner can do with.
Right.
Because now you can't use the excuse of, well, he's still learning and he's young and he's a rookie. No. Now it's year 2. His feet are wet. He showed flashes. Let's see if he can stay healthy, and let's see if you can use his versatility. That's his strength.
Thank you.
He can run and catch. Line him up in slot.
Yep.
Let's see that creativity. So I don't automatically just think, because the weapons are here. We're going to be better. I'm putting all the pressure on Scott Turner.
I agree.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. I actually said a couple of podcasts ago that I think this is a make or break year for Scott Turner because, look, last year you kind of had the buffer because of quarterback play. This year, Fitz is going to give you at least minimum average to right below average quarterback play. And you, like you said, you got the weapon, so it's kind of a show improvement type of thing now.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Antonio Gibson. I think he's poised for a breakout year. I think hopefully Scott Turner's going to use him in a nice versatile way. But switching to the other side of the ball. Ron Rivera and the media kind of called out the linebackers a lot last year. They were below average at best at linebacker play. They brought in Jamin Davis with that first pick. Do you kind of see him changing that, or what do you see from the linebackers coming into this year?
I'm unimpressed with what they did in the offseason. I do like the Jamin Davis draft pick, like all of us do. And I guess if he's special, just like any other position in the NFL, it puts a Band-Aid on your issues, right? I mean, we see that at quarterback all the time. You have a stinky team. If your quarterback can ball, well, all of a sudden, maybe you're a playoff team.
Yeah.
If not, certainly you say, okay, at least we got the quarterback position. We can add the pieces.
If real quick, if you remove Aaron Rodgers from the Packers and you have Jordan Love starting, are they a playoff team?
Exactly.
Oh, no, they're like 4 wins maximum.
Right.
Look at, you're absolutely right. And the examples go on and on with that. So to me, and I'm not comparing Jamin Davis, obviously, to a franchise quarterback, but I'm saying if he's special like Chase Young was, right? No pressure, kid. But if he's special with our defensive line up front, I mean, my God. I mean, this kid can change the whole defense on the back end.
Yeah, right.
But that's a lot of pressure and onus to put on a rookie. I know a couple people that covered him at Kentucky, and they're like, dude, you got a stud. You guys know, I bet. They're like, put a bet on him to win Defensive Rookie of the Year.
I'm right there with you on that one.
You know, but he's got to stay healthy. He's got to make the tackles. We know the rest of the story. He's got to be a dynamic playmaker. He's got to be special. If he is, it'll upgrade the entire defense. Forget the linebacking core. But if he's not, and he's just a good player, not a great player, I still don't think this team addressed it enough.
Right. Yeah, I completely agree. Especially losing Kevin Pierre-Louis. I think that was kind of tough. I mean, yeah, he didn't play too well, but I mean that he could have helped us with drafting Jamin Davis. He could have helped tremendously just with depth in general. So sticking on the defensive side of the ball, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on how somebody like William Jackson III is going to impact this secondary. In my opinion, I think William Jackson III is going to end up being a top 5 to 7 cornerback in the NFL behind this defensive line. He's that talented. And with this much depth, this much versatility in the secondary, how do you see my guy playing?
I think you're right. I think automatically I'm putting him on the team's best wide receiver, the opposing team's best wide receiver. I agree with you, obviously barring injury. I think there's a lot of guys in that secondary, man. With if Chase and Montez are getting the pressure that we believe they will, all those guys should eat. I'll give you a sleeper I had my eye on. He's not really a sleeper, but no one's talking about him that much. They were talking about him more last year. I think I still like Jimmy Moreland.
Yes.
Now look,
Yes.
Oh, the people's corner, of course.
If I'm asking him to come up and run support and tackle Derrick Henrys of the world, I don't like him so much.
Right.
But if I can get third downs, let's call them 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 9s, 3rd and 7s, and Sweat and Chase can just pin their ears back and get after the quarterback and create pressure. Moreland is such a ball hawk.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Can you not see a scenario where, yes, you're right, Jackson, all those guys can ball. I like Cam Curl. I like all those guys.
Right.
But could you not see scenarios where balls are getting tipped at the line of scrimmage or it's deflected off someone and it's Jimmy Moreland, Johnny on the spot, getting the picks and going the other way? I think he's going to have a big year. I think all the corners will.
Right. And he's already inside with the slot receiver who's running a slant, and he's already there. I think you're 100% right. I could totally see them targeting Jimmy a lot, and Jimmy can make some plays on the football, man.
Yeah. Let's put on our genie hats here, Travis. Let's just say for after the season, we don't know how it's going to go, but of this coaching staff, except for Rivera, which of this coaching staff are you most worried about losing and would be the biggest detriment to the team?
Well, I would guess Turner, just because you know how the NFL is. I mean, we saw it happen to this franchise. We don't even need to look outside of the franchise. This Shanahan, McVay, LaFleur. I mean, who's the Bengals coach? Is it Zach Taylor?
Zach Taylor, yeah.
He got a job just because he knew Sean McVay, for God's sakes. I mean, to me,
Matt LaFleur, Green Bay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This league is all about the young genius. If it doesn't hurt if your dad was a coordinator and a coach. I mean, he's the guy, and we just talked about how important his play calling is going to be all year long anyway. So I would say he would be the hot commodity for a new coach, a new head coach somewhere. And also he would be a detriment because if he is creative and he's getting head coaching looks, that means our offense stepped up and did its thing. So to me, I would think, that would hurt the team if he were to leave and we would have to bring in some new hot shot.
Yeah, no, totally agree. But on the flip side of that, if he's going somewhere else and getting a job somewhere else, that means the offense is balling this year. So that's the only good thing for the teams. But going back to the defensive side of the ball, you mentioned Chase Young and Montez Sweat. Rich Eisen said that he thinks that Chase Young will be the defensive player of the year this year. That's a little steep for me. But what do you expect from Chase Young going into year 2?
Hell, it's steep for me too. But I'll be honest, if he's even a candidate, the season is going on and he's in the running, even if he doesn't win it, but if he's top 2 or 3, our defense is clicking on all cylinders.
Yeah.
Look, I don't personally believe that it's going to happen this year. I actually have a theory that Montez Sweat's going to have more sacks than Chase Young. But I think Chase Young can get better this year and can still be dominant in other ways. In other words, I think Chase Young can become more of a well-rounded, all-around, dominant defensive end. What makes Aaron Donald so dominant, other than literally being physically Thanos? It's because he can deal with double, triple teams, chips. He's stout against the run. He has a pass rush. He's mean. He's durable. All these things lead to Defensive Player of the Year and the best in the game, and many people consider one of the greatest of all time. So I think Chase Young can get better this year at all those areas. I think he needs more. I'll be honest with you guys. I would like to see more pass rushing repertoire from him. I don't think he has enough moves.
Yeah,
correct. I agree.
So I want to see all that stuff develop. It just because he's not Defensive Player of the Year or even leads the team in sacks does not mean he can't be effective. I think he could get better this year for the long term and then get to those dominant numbers and Defensive Player of the Years and stuff that we're looking for.
Right. I completely agree. I think they're just like you kind of saw last year with him. There's ways for him to dominate without getting sacks. Like Chase Young, the one thing about him coming out of college was he's not that good against the run. He's a great pass rusher, but he dominated against the run this past season. So as long as he gets those fundamentals down, I think that he's going to be fine. But so switching it up just a little bit. I mean, Montez Sweat, of course, is one of these players. Sources have confirmed that Washington's player vaccination rate is still less than 50%. Do you think that we should be concerned at all about that, or is this the media hyping it up?
Media. That's what we do. Come on.
I was just about to ask if you were doing it. Yeah. Travis,
I do it every day.
Now, Travis, to wrap this up, I have a 2-part question for you. They're completely polar opposites. But one, what is going into training camp? It's only 2 weeks away. What is your biggest battle that you're looking forward to besides quarterback? I think that's the easy one for everybody. And then the second question to that, we're talking about our celebrity funny stories. So if you can, kind of give us, if you have one, a celebrity funny story on top of that.
All right. Battles. Well, one of them I don't even think we're going to really see at training camp. I'm still going to have a Hawkeye on Landon Collins. I don't think he's going to be able to do anything really. But I'm telling you, man, I don't think this guy's going to be here in the future. I think he's going to lose his position. And I don't know what you can get for him in a trade with that contract and the lack of productivity we've seen. But I have my eye on him and Curl and just the safety position in training camp. And then the other one, I'm going to be watching the offensive line like everyone else. I mean, for me, I just want to see the depth behind Sheriff. I want to see the other guards on this team, because I'm going to tell you, I don't believe Ron and this brain trust is just going to let Brandon Sheriff play out this season and just walk out of our lives for nothing. I really don't. I can see a scenario if they feel comfortable with Schweitzer and obviously, all the Wes Martin, all the other depth that we have there. I could see a scenario where at the trade deadline, is he on the move? I mean, do you package a Brandon Sheriff and something else do you go after a Rodgers? Let me ask you guys this before I do the celebrity thing. Just stay with me. Would you give up Sheriff, Jonathan Allen in a contract year, throw in a nice bearded quarterback in Fitzpatrick, and a first-round pick for Aaron Rodgers at the deadline?
I do that because I think with great quarterback play, that's definitely put them in Super Bowl contention. With good quarterback play, they're a playoff team. Maybe you make a run. I think with a guy like that, a top 5 quarterback in the league with this type of defense, because people forget, last time Aaron Rodgers won a Super Bowl, he had a top 5 defense with Charles Woodson and there's guys up front rushing the passer. So kind of similar type of thing in Washington. So I would do that if that was me.
And you still got Deron Payne and Matt Ioannidis.
Exactly.
So, I mean, yeah.
That's all I'm saying. And even on the offensive line side, I mean, we know Eric Flowers can play guard. I mean, I'm just saying, if you look around at the guys surrounding Sheriff, they're versatile. We still don't know about Cosme. I remember on draft night, so everyone's like, oh, tackle, tackle, tackle. I remember draft night, they were saying, look, yeah, he's raw as a tackle. He has the tools. Maybe to transition faster in the NFL, he'd be an excellent guard day one. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this guy could play guard too. So, Ron always talks about position flex and how important being versatile is. I'm just saying, so for me at training camp, I'm not watching Brandon Sheriff. I'm watching the guys around him that can play guard for this team, because if this franchise feels like they have guys that are versatile and can get the job done, I'm not saying they're going to be Sheriff. He's a Pro Bowler. I get it.
Right.
But if these guys are serviceable and they're all healthy, I think it's November 2nd or it's early November at some point, which is a trade deadline, I think you move them personally. And even if it's not for Rodgers, maybe that's pie in the sky.
Hey, maybe Deshaun Watson's charges get dropped.
Maybe, right? Right?
Maybe it turns out he was never at those massage parlors. Maybe it turns out he did just get a massage.
Maybe it was just a guy named Sean Watson. They got him mixed up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but he was a DE. Like, that was his job title.
Or maybe he's such a star that he's going to get away with this like they all do.
Right. Exactly,
But
that sounds a lot more reasonable.
So here's my celebrity. I don't have great celebrity stories because most of mine are athletes. Like, the celebrities for me are athletes that I get a chance to cover and then meet, and eventually some of them I become friends with. But that's boring. Let me tell you my B-list celebrity story. So I was at a club in Baltimore. This is when I was doing radio in Baltimore and TV early in my career.
That's how you know it's going to be good.
Yeah. And I met, well, I'll tell you too, I'll use a DC sports figure too, which is a D-list celebrity, maybe F-list. So
my favorite.
So anyway, so in Baltimore, I'm at the club. I was young and cool then. And do you guys remember the rapper Mims? This is why I'm hot.
This is why I'm hot. Yeah.
So I don't know.
I'm a DJ. I still play that song.
Yeah. Well, it's a banger.
It's a great song.
So I don't know what year that was. That song was out, but it was that year, and it was like, it was the song. And he's at a club
somewhere around there.
I think he might have performed that, and I don't remember. But anyway, somehow I chatted up with him. We started talking sports, and he knew who I was because he had been in town for a few days and like listening to radio. So he invites me in VIP. So I'm in VIP with Mims. You couldn't tell me anything at that point, right?
Right.
So sure enough, I'm like, come to the studio, hang out. He does. He's on my show. He freestyles. He spends a whole show with me.
Oh.
And to this day, have no record. I didn't save the tape. When I was young, I was stupid. I didn't care.
Oh, no.
I know, but it was cool. And now, I mean, no disrespect to Mims, but
it's not like you're,
yeah. Complete disrespect to Mims. It doesn't matter.
Nobody would be like, yo, do you have that hot Mims freestyle from back in the day from 09? That thing's a classic.
So that's one. And then the DC one is even funnier. So do you guys remember a Wizard player named Andre Blatch?
Oh,
yes. Oh, my. Who could forget the braces and everything at 6'11"?
Infamous, right?
Yep.
So I'm at a party. This one's in College Park. And, we're at one of the like Bentleys or whatever the hell. And I guess like everyone's partying, it's fun. And the DJ comes on. Mike, you'll appreciate this as a DJ. Comes on, he goes, "Hey, look who just walked in. Make some noise for Andre Blatch of the Washington Wizards." And you could hear a pin drop.
Oh my God.
No one cared.
Oh, God.
No one cared.
And Andre was like, thanks. Fuck me, guys. Cool.
So the DJ goes, ladies, he plays on the Wizards. VIP back there. Go hang out with Andre Blatch. Now he's hitting sound effects.
He's playing the horn.
Mavaya. Nothing. No woman in the joint went anywhere near him. In fact, they went back to their conversation like it never happened.
See, at that point, if you don't get a reaction, you have to just immediately change the subject or throw a banger on and get people going. Because at that point, you're screwed. You're embarrassing this guy, first of all. The fact that nobody gave a shit means Andre Blatch was probably going to end up leaving in the next 20 minutes.
I hope he left the club right after that, because that is
he did
embarrassing.
too. That is, if that ever happened to me, I would never show
You'd
my
probably
face
cry.
Well, I do, as we know, yes, when I was that age.
As someone who covered that team and a sports fan and super petty like myself, it was amazing. I won the night. The night was won for me. There was no higher plane to go for me.
Right. Doesn't get better than that.
Travis, what a way to end that great interview, dude. I can't thank you enough for joining us tonight, sir. I know you spent all day talking. I can't thank you enough for coming on and giving us your 2 cents and hearing my terrible name suggestions.
It was a terrible name suggestion.
It was.
But I appreciate your effort. I love you guys that you guys always have me on. It is family. You guys know I'd do anything for you. I love coming on. I actually wish that you guys would have me on longer, because usually how it works in my life, you save me from family time. So tonight, just so we're clear, I was watching Like Mike with Little Bow Wow with my son for the 1000th time.
Oh no.
Help me.
Somebody please get me out of here.
Go buy those sneakers, man. Make sure you put in there.
Well, at least you only got a couple hours till the actual real game comes on.
Yeah.
It could be worse. You could be watching the new Space Jam.
That's true.
Dude, I'd rather go to the club with Andre Blatch.
Try to pick up some chicks than watch the new Space.
Everyone, thank you so much, Travis. That was great as always, brother. You have a good night, sir.
Thank you,
All
man.
right, man. You guys be cool.
Yeah, you too, brother. We'll catch you again.
All right, bro.
All right, everybody. We just talked to the one and the only, Travis.
So
Thomas.
great, so great.
Travis is the man. He's the only person, well, not the only, because we've had a few, but that's came on here like the very first time we had Travis on. Automatically, it was just like there's something about the guy you just click with automatically,
Yeah.
and it's just such an easy conversation.
People
He's
person,
so
man.
cool.
He's a
He's like there's no wonder that he's so successful at what he does.
We met him once, and like his reaction to my name suggestion should tell you everything about Travis. Like that's just kind of like you meet him once.
He's just
and
a
it's
real person.
Yeah, just like it's family, dude. That's what it's like. And
Let's just hope that Mims or Andre Blatch is not watching this.
that's hysterical.
You know, Mims is Googling his name and wondering any time he gets his name dropped because he wants to still be hot. This is why he's hot. So Kyle, hashtag memes when you put this
Right.
on.
So I'm sure he has that like saved in his Twitter that like he gets notified anytime somebody searches for memes. You know,
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, but and now he's pissed because the Jets drafted Denzel Mims, and he's like, what's going on?
So guys, let's move on to story time before we get into all of our fan questions and would you rather's. So who wants to start us off here? Mine's a celebrity. I have a couple I'm going to get into. They don't take very long. But who wants to go first, Hall?
Where you can go. I'm still thinking.
Oh yeah, so am I right now.
Oh my goodness! I gave you guys days. Okay, so
You didn't.
I'm gonna save. I gave you 2 days. I'm gonna give you guys. My first one is Chris Paul. Met Chris Paul at a country club I was working at. I'll never forget. He rolled it because he was getting.
You met a bunch of NBA players at that country club.
Yeah,
because that's also where you met MJ, right?
Yeah. That's exactly where I met MJ. But at that club that day, Chris Paul was coming to get lessons from the golf pro. And I'll never forget, he was standing there with his car. He had like a rental Mercedes, like your normal Mercedes, wasn't crazy. But so he hands me the keys. I'll never forget, he was standing on the curb and I was standing on the asphalt. And he was only like a 4 head taller than I am. So like ever since that day, I'm like, dude, I respect the hell out of Chris Paul. Like that guy's going against giraffes every night and he's balling out. Like good Lord, dude, he's my height doing that. It's insane. My second one is Fred Davis, and this is a funny one.
I got a Fred Davis one too.
We went to the club down in D.C., and we went with Pierre and a bunch of people, and they're not big sports fans. They just like to go out and party. So we go to VIP. We're in the back of VIP. I see this guy get escorted down to another portion of the VIP. And I'm looking, I'm like, dude, that looks like Fred Davis, man. Like, I'm telling you, like, verbatim, that's Fred Davis. And I said something to Pierre. I'm like, yo, I think that's Fred Davis. He's like, who's Fred Davis? I'm like, okay, I don't need to talk to you. So I go over, and it's actually Fred Davis. There's a bottle of Grey Goose sitting on the table. He's like texting on his phone.
Always out in the club.
Yep. I came up to him and I said, hey, Fred, I just want to let you know, I thought you should have made the Pro Bowl this year. It was when he got busted for marijuana.
Smoking weed with Trent Williams.
Yeah, and he got suspended. So I hope you should have won got to the Pro Bowl this year off of your season. Hail the Redskins, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, oh, thanks, man. Yeah, hail the Redskins, blah, blah. And as I'm walking away, I noticed the bouncer is walking down the stairs with 2 girls. So I go back to the VIP. I look back, and Fred meets the 2 girls, and then they leave. The Grey Goose bottle doesn't even get opened. This man literally said hi to the 2 girls, and then they were leaving.
Hell yeah.
Fred Davis gets it, dude.
Kyle, me and you have both met Fred Davis on multiple occasions. I met him once at a pool party, too. I'm not going to tell that. But then he was also when
I heard that was a crazy night.
That was, yeah. But then when we were at 980, or not 980, 1067, when we were doing the AWOD show, he came in and we crossed paths. But so one of mine, I have two.
I'm not done yet. I didn't do the Michael Jordan, though. Can I do
Michael Jordan first? Keep going. Yes, please.
Sorry, the Michael Jordan one is a little bit longer, guys. I know I'm taking forever, but I kind of want to give you guys the view of kind of what I was seeing. So the best way to, I worked at a country club. I worked 2 jobs at the time. I worked for Noodles and Company, and then I went to this country club in the evenings. And this country club told me, hey, we're having a special event this weekend. There is a agent that is a member here that is going to be having a birthday party, and so all of his friends are coming, and they're playing golf for the weekend. So I was like, all right, dope. And they were like, look, in years past, Michael has come for the birthday party. So if Michael Jordan comes, make sure you don't ask for autograph, don't ask for a picture to sign anything. So, all right, that's fine. So the way that you have to imagine this country club's driveway, it's like a B, and their clubhouse is at the bottom of the B. All the guests had come. The only person that had not shown up yet on the guest list was none other than Michael Jordan. You know, if you're worth it, they'll wait, right?
Right.
So the way that it worked with my company at that time was that like they had like 2 times every day that they would serve the guests, serve the workers with breakfast and lunch. So at this time, my boss and the guy above me, they said, all right, you're going to be alone. We're going to go to breakfast. I said, all right, cool, no worries. So I'm standing at the clubhouse at the bottom of that B. There's nobody around. I'm telling you, there's like a slight overcast, not that much sun out, but I could see clear as day. There's nobody out there. It's completely silent. I'm just standing there, and I see a black SUV driving up the B. I said, all right, here we go. And I'm trained to go over to the car, ask the driver, hey, do you want me to take your golf clubs out of your truck for you? He pulls up. The driver gets out, and it's very sporadic. You could tell he's like erratic, like very tense. I was like, okay, what's going on? And so I asked him, hey, man, can I take your clubs? He doesn't even acknowledge my existence. doesn't even look at me. So I was like, that's kind of weird. I look in the back seat, and I'll never forget it, dude. I know it's so lame to say, but this is the first time I've ever seen swag in real life. You know what I'm saying? Like, as lame as that sounds, but I saw Michael Jordan in the back seat smoking a cigar. So
first of all, Michael Jordan has no swag when it comes to the way he dresses. His shoes are awesome, but even he wears them wrong.
Just the energy.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, so you know he's cool as shit because his energy. Because that dude says, "Ooh."
Yeah. So he gets. So I take the bag and
angle hats and shit.
I take his golf bag and I get it set up to get taken down to the clubhouse. As I'm putting the bag down, I hear, "Hey, my man, you mind if I get my shoe bag off of there?" And I look up and Michael Jordan is literally looking at me. And I was like, yeah, of course, you know. So I took his shoe bag off and I gave it to him. And I was like, I just want to let you know that's a really sick bag. Because his bag was like Carolina blue, but stitched onto the side of the bag was all like Jordan shoes that have come out over the years. So it was really, really dope. And he was like, oh, thank you. And so I was like kind of following him into the clubhouse. And he turns around with a cigar and he goes, hey, is there anywhere I could toss this? And I was like, not really. I'll take it from you, though. And he was like, don't smoke it, though. I was like, I won't. As soon as he went inside, I ran inside the bathroom. I wrapped it up in tissue paper, put it in my pocket, and I told my boss, I'm out of here. I'm leaving for the day. I just met Michael Jordan, and he tried getting the cigar off me. I still have it to this day. It's upstairs in my room.
Well, good. That's better than what Bill Clinton would have done with that cigar.
Hey.
Or Dennis Rodman.
If you know our group chat, our group of friends, they'll refer to this as the Dennis Rodman booty hole cigar. It is one of the worst jokes that has been ever made, but for some reason it just continues to live on.
2-3 years running strong, baby.
So those kind of tie in with some of mine, Kyle. I also met Michael. Well, I actually didn't meet Michael Jordan. I got his signature, and it's actually a pretty funny story of how it happened. My uncle used to run a dating service in Seattle called Great Expectations. This is back late 90s, early 2000s, before they had any Tinder or anything like that. And MJ was, I don't want to say for sure, but allegedly having an affair with my uncle's assistant. Again, this is all alleged. They could have just been friends. MJ knows that me and my brother are fans of Michael Jordan, of course, because we're basketball fans. Right. And my uncle walks up to him with basketball, and he's like, "Excuse me, Mr. Jordan, would you be able to sign this for my nephews? They're huge fans." And at first he's kind of like, "Nah, man, like, whatever." And then
I'm trying to get it in right now.
My uncle was like, "Mr. Jordan, I know that you've been spending a lot of time here lately. Is there any way that you would be able to sign this for my?" And he was like, "All right, let me see it." Like he got the fact that he was getting blackmailed and signed it. But he signed it. But MJ always has the last laugh. MJ signed it in pen, so it's all faded and you can't even see it anymore. The next one was another autograph story, by the way. This guy was a big dick, surprisingly. So I went to a Ravens training camp when I was like 10, 11 years old, just to go because it was cool. My uncle was going, so he took me. And we met like Ray Lewis. He was super cool. Kyle Bowler, he was really nice. Ed Reed, I don't think was on the team at that time, but everybody that we met was super cool. Peter Boulware was awesome. The biggest dick is the person you would never expect. Matt Stover. Matt Stover, the kicker, refused to sign anything for us, just stood there trying to talk to girls the entire time. And then the last one is the funniest. I was at Mount Airy Skate Park, right? And you guys remember, obviously, of Jackass fame, Bam Margera. So I am standing underneath a quarter pipe. I did not know that the Element skateboard team was in town to do a promo and shoot some stuff. And all of a sudden, from the top of that pipe, I hear, "All right, here's the scoop. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drop it. I'm going to 180 kickflip over that sick-ass rail right there. And I'm going to land it, and everybody's going to go fucking nuts." And I was like, I know that voice anywhere. That's Bam from Viva La Bam and Jackass fame. And I asked him, I'm like, "Excuse me, Mr. Margera." Bam. And he goes, "It's Bam." And I was like, "Can I have your autograph?" And he goes, "No," and just dropped it. And I was like, "All right," and I'm gone. Thank you.
Your autograph?
No. Don Vito's fat ass is right above us right now.
That's hysterical.
That's how we talk.
I got like a quick one. I'll probably think of a better one like as soon as we're done with this. But this is like back when I was working at Nando's in Bethesda, like right on Bethesda Row, where like if anyone's been down to Bethesda, you got Uncle Julio's, the Apple Store, Bethesda's right, or Nando's right on the corner. Mm-hmm. So I'm just chilling. It's like kind of like in the downtime, like slow time, like the lunch rush had just finished. I'm chilling, and the Nando's is connected to a parking garage, like a big ass parking garage where people can park at and shit. So I'm just chilling, looking out the window, just minding my business on my phone. Next thing you know, I see this like 6'8", just like 300-pound, just like swole ass dude just walking through and out of the parking garage, just like walking around swole. I'm just like, man, dude was like a football player. I was thinking he was a football player. Turns out he was a like personal bodyguard, because like maybe 10 to 15 feet walking behind him by himself, just kind of strolling along, was the one and only John Wall. So I'm like, at first I'm looking, I'm like, damn, it kind of looks like John Wall. And I'm like, nah, that can't be. So I kind of go outside, act like I'm wiping down the table to get like a better look. I'm like, yo, that is John Wall. So I'm like, yo, John Wall, you the man. And like, I was going to try to run up and get an autograph because, you know, like, who doesn't like John Wall? He was on fire at the time. And the dude turns around, his bodyguard turns around and gives me like a death stare. Like, if you get anywhere close to us, I'm going to tackle you and probably end your life. So I was just like, John Wall, you the man. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're
so I just walked back inside. I was like, man, that's whack, man. Like, I'm just trying to get his autograph, man.
This thing sucked.
Yeah, so on the way back, he's like walking back to the parking garage. He stops by the window and knocks on the window and just like doom, points at me, gives me the head nod, just like, and I was just like, oh shit,
that was cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
He kind of like, you know what I'm saying, he kind of made up for it, even though his like bodyguard was a dick and I was trying to get an autograph, but at least he acknowledged me and was just like, yo, what's up, man?
Right,
so
that makes me like John Wall even more.
Yeah, that was like one time I saw Gilbert Arenas riding a bike in
No Chill Gil.
Yeah, No Chill Gil. And my brother, first of all, my brother has this weird talent where he can always spot celebrities. My older brother Andrew, like anywhere we go, like we saw Christopher Lloyd one time, like Doc from Back to the Future in a sunglass hut. And he was like, that's Christopher Lloyd. I was like, no, it's not. I went up to him. I was like, are you Christopher Lloyd? He's like, yes. And he started doing fucking Christopher Lloyd. Like, that's weird.
I actually have another one.
He sees some dude going by on a bike in sunglasses and hat and like all this tight gear. And he's like, that's Gilbert Arenas. And I'm like, it's not Gilbert Arenas. Sure enough, he goes to a stop sign. It's Gilbert Arenas. I was like, what the hell? I went up to him. I was like, Gil. He was like, what's up, man? And I was like, don't shoot. I didn't say
That's not funny. That is funny. Let's move on to our fan questions. And the first one is from our guy, none other than Scott Hartley. I'm sorry, the UK folks. If you guys don't know, basically they just got word that they won't be attending week 1. I'm sorry, fellas. It's stupid.
Unless we can get that submarine.
Blame China. I'm coming on the submarine.
I thought that was some sort of like European April Fool's Day or something. Like I'm like really upset.
But Scott's question for us is over-unders. What's the over-under on 2 different quarterback starters in 2021?
Like,
do you think over-under? How many quarterbacks are going to be starting for the Washington?
Oh yeah, I'll go 2 because I do think. I mean, I personally think Ryan Fitzpatrick will play all 17 games. I think even if he has a bad 2 to 3 game stretch, he'll have such a long leash that, and if he plays a 4th game bad, I think they might go to Heineke. But I think it'll be Ryan Fitzpatrick 17. But I will say over for 2.
Yeah, I will go over as well, just simply based on how last year went, and there was like 4 different quarterbacks starting at different points. So just based off how things are going, I'll go over.
I'm gonna stick with you guys. Exactly what you guys said. I'll take the over as well.
Now, what's the over/under? 25 sacks for Chase Young and Montez Sweat.
Ooh, that's amazing. But I am going to go with the under. I think that they'll get just under it. I do think they should be close to it though. But I think Montez leads the way with about 12, and I think Chase will have about 10. But Chase Young eventually over the years will take over as the leading pass rusher.
I didn't want to agree. I wanted to go over, but it's going to be under, and I don't think it's because they're not going to be able to get sacks. I think it's because teams are going to be running the football as much as they can to try to take away the pass rush.
Not enough sacks to go around to the whole D-line, you know.
I'm going to stick to my guns because I said that Chase Young's going to double up his sacks this year and get to 15, which means if he gets to 15, that means Montez Sweat's most likely eating on the other side.
Yep.
So I'll go over, but just a tad over, a 25.5.
Yeah, and he wanted to finish this off with, you and that Scott Hartley and Hall will always be seat neighbors.
Seat neighbor for life, man. Seat neighbors for life.
It's unfortunate, dude. It sucks. Look, I know things are working. I want to get the UK guys over here. They need to be here for week 1. We've been talking about it for over a year. Man, we're just trying to party with those boys and watch them watching football.
Yeah. I think actually what it is they were scared that we're going to put them under the table drinking.
Yeah, that's a good point. I
me.
told Andy that he didn't like that very much.
Yeah.
Now our next question is from the DC Tweet Team podcast co-host Shelly. Shelly asks, "Who do you think gets to 1,000 yards first this season? Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, or Diami Brown?
I'm going to go with Terry McLaurin. I think Terry McLaurin's the number one target. I think Terry is going to have a fantastic season. I think that there's a chance we have 2,000-yard receivers, maybe, but I don't think that we'll have 3. But I definitely think Terry gets 1,000.
Obviously, it's Terry, but I would say that the longevity of Diami Brown with how many yards he could be getting with these catches could possibly be some if he gets to that point, but I don't think his usage will be up to that as much. But I know the easy answer is obviously Terry. Curtis will get more of the swing, kind of jet sweeps and everything close to the line of scrimmage and the checkdowns and everything. So that's why I think, Terry.
The first to 1,000 receiving yards will most likely be Terry, but the first to 1,000 total yards would be Curtis Samuel because they're going to use him in the game as well.
Great job, Paul.
Screen game, stuff like that. So whichever way you cut it,
I like that one. Now our next question is from Error 404, no L's found. If one player got injured in preseason or week 1, knocking on wood that it doesn't happen, whose injury would be most detrimental to how the season pans out?
Antonio Gibson.
Okay. I'm going to go Chase Young or Montez Sweat because what do we have behind them?
I mean, same reason for me with Antonio Gibson. J.D. McKissick, he showed he can do it in spurts last year, but he was more of a guy at the backfield. He catch passes with. But if Antonio Gibson goes down, I think that just is a huge blow for this offense.
I mean, Lamar Miller and Jarrett Patterson. Hopefully they could, but you're right.
Mine is Chase Roulier. He just got a contract extension for a reason, one of the best centers in the NFL. If he did get injured in the preseason or week 1, the offensive line, given with the makeshift of everybody with the younger guys being here, the gelling could really mess things up if Chase went out. So I would go Chase. Yep.
Very good one.
That is a great one. Now our next question is from Michael Haas. The Washington football team defense greater than Dallas's offense?
Yes, I'm going to say so. I believe Washington is a top 3 defense in the NFL. I don't think Dallas's offense is a top 3 offense in the NFL. I think Dallas's offense is very good, but no.
It's a great question. No, I was just saying it's a great question.
Ranking like number wise, I think that obviously like Washington's defense will be ranked a little bit higher than Dallas's offense. But if you go by the eye test, like I think Dallas's offense will be better by like your eyes because like they'll have more flashy plays and big splash plays as opposed to a defense that's going to just get a lot of 3 and outs.
Yeah, there is a lot of similarities between the two because the linebacker spot is probably the weakest point you could say for Washington on defense, and that is the quarterback of the defense. And with the Cowboys, their offensive line is the weakest part of their offense. So which is more detrimental? And I will say it's the offensive line. Right. I will say. So, yes, I believe Washington football team's defense is better than Dallas's offense, given I know how well they played last season, but I'm just saying this team is on the up.
By the way, dumbest take I saw on Twitter was yesterday. I meant to screenshot and send it to you guys.
About Tony Pollard being better than AG.
This dude saying that Tony Pollard is a better running back than Antonio Gibson. Log off.
Was that person a Cowboys fan? Because that sounds like a Phil Ramos take right there.
Dude, a lot of these accounts, that's what they do. They say something outlandish like that. It's the Skip Bayless effect. You say something so asinine and crazy that everyone talks about it. Now the next question from Michael Haas is, how creative will Jack Del Rio get now that he has William Jackson III and Jamin Davis?
Very creative. I think that you're going to see, especially not only that, but having Chase Young another year into the league and getting more accustomed. I think that you're going to see Jack Del Rio get very creative with what he does, especially Jamin Davis. He's going to have a lot of fun with Jamin Davis.
Yeah, we talked about this before, how we've made the mistake of imagining that the base defense is 4-3 when we need to be really looking at it as a 4-2-5. And given that they could use Landon or other guys down close into the box for blitzing formations, I could definitely see a lot of creativity from that standpoint. And we saw when Chase Young's Instagram video the other day of him running the zone out when he was working out, looking really good, looking a little fluid, could run really well. I think we'd be really good with that. I think, yes, he definitely will. Now, Michael's story is he was walking down the Santa Monica Pier and a homeless lady points and says, "You're a March Pisces." As I walk away, she follows and does this 3 more times, then runs off. She was right. That's nuts. She called out his sign and the month he was born. That's freaking crazy.
Very weird.
Oh, that's kind of scary.
Yeah, it is. And she was homeless too, which is nuts. Now Rob Tubman.
You'd think that you'd be able to use that power for like better than make some money on
like
it.
like at a carnival or something, guessing the age game.
Right.
Is from Rob Tubman 88. Is anything less than a playoff win a failure? And if that's the case, could and should there be coordinator changes?
It really depends on how the coordinators do. Like Travis Thomas says, if this offense isn't performing, then I'm sorry, but Scott Turner would have to go because there's too many weapons. Last year, he had a reason as to why the offense couldn't perform well. But is anything less than a playoff win a failure? I think making the playoffs would be a success, but we're all expecting a win, I think, but I don't think I think it'll still be a successful season if we just make the playoffs.
Yeah, I've said this for a while, Rob, that this season is a failure if they don't make the playoffs. Without a doubt, that is the point. That's the benchmark. That's the expectation now, year in and year out. You did it under the worst case scenario, the worst circumstances possible for your football team last season, and you still made the playoffs with a 7-9 record. Nobody can do that with starting 4 different quarterbacks throughout the season. Nobody. I will tell you that with confidence. That being said, dude, would it be a failure? No, and I don't think coordinator changes would have to come from that. If they did lose a playoff game, depending on how the game went. I mean, if they're like botching and they have no offense whatsoever, then yeah, I think we have a case to be made. But no, I don't think that would warrant coordinator changes.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think the floor is making the playoffs, whether it's winning the division again or making the playoffs through the wild card again. And like you said, I don't think that it would be a failure if they don't win the playoff game, but the next natural progression of this team should be make the playoffs or win the division, either one, win a playoff game. And then going into year 3 of Ron Rivera, that's when you insert X quarterback, and this team should be able to take off.
Yep. Now our next question is from our guy, Andy Burrows in the UK. Oi!
Oi!
Of the DC Tweet Team podcast. He wants to know, in your guys' views, how should the team honor the history of the organization moving forward?
So that's a very good question because obviously they want to step away from the whole Native American things. But I think as long as they're keeping burgundy and gold, I think that a lot of the fans will end up being okay with it. I think that they're so attached to these colors that you really have to keep the burgundy and gold. You can add something to it. You can add black, you can add gray, whatever you got to do, but keep the burgundy and gold.
Andy, I'll tell you this. One way that you can do it, because I know that the team, obviously their goal is to be getting away from the name. Obviously, they can't do it right away because there would be a lot of people who would be upset with completely just tarnishing the name and moving on. What you could do with this transition to honor the history is having like a museum type of thing, and the Sean Taylor locker be the number one aspect of it, be the number one thing. I think that would be a good way to kind of remember the history. I don't want that locker to leave. That is something that should stay.
Yeah, I'm with y'all. I mean, obviously everyone knows they're going to keep the colors burgundy and gold. Maybe they'll add something here or there. If you want to do something like when you're doing like the big screen at the stadium, they're showing like the John Riggins and the runs and stuff like that. You can still show stuff like that. You just can't have the R word blasted all over the screens and stuff like that. So I still think they're gonna have the memories. I mean, look, let's be serious. Week 1, when they score a touchdown, there's gonna be fans in the stadium singing the song anyway. Like, you know what I'm saying? So there's always gonna be people recognizing this the history and fandom wise at least. But as far as the team, like you guys said, just as long as they keep the colors and just keep the tradition alive of the Hogs, really. Yeah. As long as you're talking about the Hogs, I feel like.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, as long as you're talking about the Hogs, I feel like the tradition will still be there.
Now, our next question is from Wizzy F. Baby. Wiz Kittens on Twitter, our guy. He wants it short and sweet, to the point. Fantasy football sleeper tight end.
Ooh, this is kind of taking my game plan away, but I'll care. Hopefully you don't remember this. I don't care. You're not going to draft him anyway. I'll go Gerald Everett of the Seattle Seahawks. Just came from the Rams.
Yeah,
Transition. Transition over to Seattle. Russell Wilson loves his tight ends, love to work the seam. So I think Gerald Everett is poised for a big year up in Seattle.
Wizzy, I got you, bud. I got you. Pat Freiermuth, the tight end for the Pittsburgh Steelers, coming from Penn State. They've been looking for that tight end help ever since Heath Miller retired. Got their guy, Pat Freiermuth. I could see him being targeted early and often, consistently throughout the season, and you can get him in like the 17th, 16th round. Nobody's going to be picking that guy.
Right. So for me, I'm going to go with Mo Alley Cox from the Indianapolis Colts. Mo Alley Cox. He was very highly rated for PFF. Carson Wentz loves his tight ends, and then I'll throw another one out there. That's Anthony Firkser, however you say it, from the Tennessee Titans. He's going to be their starting tight end, and he is very talented as well.
Yeah, that's a great one, dude. We had such great questions on tonight's show. You guys are great. I can't thank you guys enough. Thank you to Andy. Thank you to Scott. Thank you to Travis Thomas, first and foremost. Thank you to Wizzy F, baby. Thank you to Rob Tubman. I appreciate everyone for all your inputs, all of your questions. I really do appreciate it. Give us something to talk about here and to hear about from you guys on what you think everything should go down. And remember, we still have the freestyle available. So if you want to be part of the freestyle, you got to make a video for us, and we'll make sure to upload it here on the show for you, all right? And don't forget, download the Discord app. Join us for our VIP chat, dude, so you can come in and hang out with the crew and talk some nonsense like we usually do. Still waiting for Hall to get in there, by the way. All right, everybody. I'll see you guys on Thursday. Do not miss it. We got another banger coming out for you. I'm Kyle.
Hall.
I'm Reed, and part 2 of my series is going to be coming out Friday, so make sure you guys check that out. If you haven't read part 1 yet, please do so.
I completely forgot. Your part 1, the garbage. That was absolutely amazing. And I just wanted to say, everybody, I love you, even if you are fans of us. All right, everybody. We'll see you guys on Thursday.
Washington fans.
Yeah, Washington football. Hey.
Bears.
What's up, everyone? This is Kyle from the Burgundy Zone. We are releasing our own merch to support the show. If you want to rock the Burgundy Zone logo or you want to see Reed's face on your shirt, we got it. We're starting with t-shirts, hoodies, and zip-up. So if you're a fan of the show, make sure you snag one before they are gone. Check out the link in our bio on Instagram, or you can find the link in the description of the video. Thanks again for all your support. Until next time.